Hey guys, welcome to Chaotic Stupid Gaming. We're here with the Warhammer 40k podcast. I'm Ben.
And I'm Tony.
We're here to talk about the new release, the Custodes and the Sisters of Silence. So they dropped a pretty cool box deal on Games Workshop for how much is it?
It's $160. The Towns of the Emperor box set.
And what all do you get in it?
Oh, you get a squad of 5 Custodes with a Contemptor Dreadnought that you're meant to use as a Custodes Contemptor Dreadnought, and as a Land Raider that you're meant to use as a Custodes Land Raider. And then you also get a squad of 5 Sisters. All the options for both Custodes and the Sisters. And with the Sisters, you also get a Rhino that you're meant to use with the Sisters.
Okay.
And all in all, it's going to run you $160. It's a $271 value if you add up all the individual parts. If you want to buy in piecemeal,
phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a really good deal.
If you want all those things,
it's about on par with like the Gangs of Gamorra and all their other various box sets they released lately.
Right.
Yeah. So going into Custodes, which we'll talk about first.
Yeah.
What do you think of Custodes, Ben? Those big, golden, beautiful men.
Personally, I love the models.
Their models are
they're big, bulky dudes. They walk around and they hit stuff really hard, and they're tough. They're basically what the Custodes have always been in the fluff. In terms of big guys, they got a strength 6, toughness strength 5, toughness 5, BS 5. I think also WS 5.
Yeah, weapon skill, ballistic skill 5. They're 5 across the board, except initiative, which is 4.
Yeah. So
and leadership 10, fearless.
Yeah.
And fear, adamantium will. Their formation.
They don't have fear.
They don't have fear?
No.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, they're just fearless.
Huh.
I mean, fear's not really that big of a deal.
No, it's not.
They have adamantium will, which is pretty dope. They got Ages of the Emperor, also really good.
Yep, which is a 5-up invuln, and it comes with Eternal Warrior because they are all 2-wound models.
Yeah, so
which is pretty significant.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
Makes
the captain,
a lot more survivable.
Only thing difference I can see is his weapon skill is 6, and he has
weapon
one more
skill
attack.
6, one more attack.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
It's all in all though, they are quite points heavy. 50 points for one model, 60 for the captain. So a regular squad is going to run you 260 points.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
It's pretty ridiculous. Their weapons, they have their gun Halberd, which I know you're a big fan of.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Which is a hilarious piece of war gear.
It is.
So +1 strength, AP2, hits an initiative, and it comes with a built-in bolter.
Yeah.
Again, hilarious.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
I don't think you'll ever see them in competitive lists.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If you want to run them a little more competitive, you might run them as sort of like a distraction Carnifex type thing, but they're just so points heavy.
Yeah.
You could throw their Storm Shield options on them. And they do reroll ones for their invulnerable
But
saves.
that'll put you at what 310 points.
310 points
for the whole squad.
Yeah.
So it's a little pricey, but they're really tough. They're not dying easily.
Yeah.
They also do a lot of damage when they get in.
That's true. If you do manage to get them in melee, they will. They'll put the hurt on anything.
Yeah. So they're good. They're good. Custodes unit, something that they're like protect. You can also give them the flag. It's their relic, which gives like a fearless to everyone.
All the Imperium within 12 inches, and then +1 attack.
Yeah, +1 attack.
Which is, I mean, that's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty decent.
So I mean, they're very, very. Yeah. They're exactly what you want from the Custodes in the lore.
Small, very
transferred
elite.
And like tough, like leader model guys that are like protecting your whole army. But.
Moving on to their other options in their codex, we'll call it generously.
The 3-day slates.
3-day slates. The Dreadnought, their Contemptor Dreadnought.
It's pretty good at 200 points. I love Dreadnoughts. They're like one of my favorite models. And Contemptor Dreadnoughts are like the viable Dreadnoughts.
They're also the best looking Dreadnoughts in my opinion.
They look like real things that could
they look
walk around.
They look like they can move around the table, like hypothetically speaking.
In real life. This one's a venerable Contemptor Dreadnought for 200 points, which means you get the cool things of a venerable. So you get +1 ballistic skill. You're at ballistic skill, weapon skill 5. You get the venerable special rule, so you get to reroll penetrating hits. It's front armor 13. It's got the invuln that they have, the 5. And you can you can also reroll 1s, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Interestingly, it still has the Contemptor Dreadnought special rule. It gives it a 5 with invuln.
Yeah.
And +1 to the distance on explosions. Yeah. Which, I mean, GW does like to keep their data slates in line, but it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, it is kind of good. It comes stock with multi-melta. Yeah, and you can give it the cool assault cannon,
shot.
which is basically a 6-shot.
It is just a 6-shot.
Heavy 6, AP4 rending. Heavy 6.
With their, let's just go 5, you're going to be hitting a lot of those.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It does come natively, the entire Custodes, with the exception of the Land Raider, does come with Deep Strike.
Yeah.
And you are only Deep Striking 1d6 scatter, which is pretty significant. You get it down to no d6 scatter. They always hit right where you want. If you have Servo Skulls. Yeah. Servo Skulls, once again, completely broken.
Yeah, results to be one of the best things.
Yeah.
The Inquisition.
They make something that's pretty...
Which is pretty impressive in that codex.
Anyway, moving right along to the Land Raider. What do you think? What do you think of this Land Raider? Best Land Raider in the game? I think, without being sarcastic.
Yeah. No, it's objectively the best Land Raider in the game, but it still is a Land Raider, clocking in at 275 points for a thing that doesn't do much except does exactly what it's meant to do, which is get across the board with your guys inside, and it's not going down without heavy firepower.
It'll fight. And it'll stay on the table a lot longer with that 5-up invuln, the rerollable 1, and the venerable. Yeah, and it'll be on there a while. Yeah, and Ballistic Skill 5.
And Ballistic Skill 5, yeah. So
you're hitting almost all your shots.
So this is like a good Land Raider, but again, it's still a Land Raider, and you're only taking it with your Custodes, so that's upwards of 600 points for taking 5 models in a transport. They're not dying anytime soon. They're getting to where they need to be, but
it's for 600 points. Yeah, what can you get for 600 points instead?
Like almost anything. Yeah, that can do a lot more work. So yeah, that's like 2 Wraith Knights.
Yeah, 2 Wraith Knights is like like 5, or it's like a full Riptide wing.
Yeah.
All kitted out. Yeah, it's most of a demi company.
Yeah. So yeah, you're paying a lot for what you're getting, but it definitely is a cool thing to have out there, and you won't see it in competitive lists, but I mean, I think you'll see it. Yeah, I think you'll see it in like leading the charge of like the guardsmen. I think that'd be cool. I think it would do what it's meant to do, which is be tough and take on
there's
other
limited potential for like in a guardsman list where you already have a ton of models anyway.
Yeah,
but 12-inch Fearless, it's not nothing.
Yeah, and they're tough guys. But this isn't really what the Shining... we can talk about their special rules first,
Yeah, so the special rules, they come with formation. Yeah. It's 1 to 3 troop choices. The troops are the Custodes, and 1 elite. The elite is the only option is the Dreadnought.
Yeah.
You can take the Land Raiders as dedicated transports. They have a Warlord trait table. If for some reason you want to roll on what is maybe one of the worst Warlord trait tables in the game...
No, that's not true. That's definitely not true. There's plenty of horrible ones.
Well, but, I don't know. I use the baseline of the strategic table. Yeah, and the big rule book.
I mean, obviously you can make him your warlord and then give him better strategic.
Yeah, you can roll traits. On what is maybe the best warlord trait table in the game.
Probably
every army can roll on.
Yeah.
Big rule book, strategic.
Yeah.
Warlord trait table.
Yeah, but
the only good thing is like Shrouded.
Cool. Shrouded, I think, is the only one that you'll ever be happy about rolling. Yeah. The other ones are, like, fine, but...
They're okay, but just lackluster.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. The benefits of the formation is the re-rolling 1s on your invulnerable saves, and then the reducing d6 scatter, which is pretty good. It's pretty good way to run them. If you wanted to, you can run them as a CAD.
Yeah.
It is an option because of the triumvirate guys.
And girls, I guess.
I don't know... If you wanted to run a Custodes army, if you wanted to be the #1 Custodes player in ITC, you could run them. I think that's the best way to run them. Is in a CAD. You give them you have objective secured Land Raiders now, sir.
Yeah, that's true. You would have objective secured Land Raiders. That's pretty good. But
they're still Land Raiders.
They're still Land Raiders.
And you have like 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty
unfortunate.
And now moving on to the actual shining stars of this release, the Sisters of Silence. I think they're pretty awesome. My initial reactions. What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. They're very good. They were already very good with the data sheet that they released a couple months ago.
Yeah, we saw them at the LVO. They had a cool little thing where you put them in the bunker and then
you got them midfield.
Yeah,
and you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah,
now that they have their own Rhino,
which also has their special rule. But we'll get into that.
We'll get on to that.
So the actual stats for the three, there's three different
detachments. It's the same as their data sheet online, with the exception of they split up the different weapon choices.
Right.
There's Flamer Sisters. Those are 85 points. Mm-hmm. There's Bolter Sisters. Those are 75 points. Then there's the Great Blade Sisters. Those are only 65 points, which I don't know what GW is doing, making those less points in the Bolters.
I mean, having range is always more effective, but that's not really why you're taking them. You're not taking them to shoot at things. You're taking them to just be within 12 inches of Psychers.
To just shut down Psychers.
Yeah, so at 65 points, much more reasonable of a release than 260 points.
Yeah.
I think you'll see them in every competitive list.
I'm excited as to what they're going to do to the meta, because Psychers are just in such a strong spot right now.
Yeah.
Not near as strong anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Tell me about the Psychic Abomination.
Okay, so Psychic Abomination. Yeah. It's a pretty great special rule. All units that contain Psychers or have a blessing or a malediction on them within 12 inches of the Sisters of Silence at any point that they're within 12 inches. So like at the run move phase or like after the movement phase in the assault, you redo it every time. The blessings go away, so do the maledictions. So it's a good way to clear off debuffs on your own guys. And then it's a good way to shut down that Wolf Star that's invisible, rerolling saves. It's a good way to make that go away.
Yeah.
All one fell swoop. Okay. It also -3 leadership on all Psychers within the 12 in any unit that is within 12 inches. So even if the Psyker himself isn't there,
it's just the unit.
It's just the unit. And they also have their Bane of Psychers, which is precision shots and precision strikes against Psychers or units with Psychers in them. And then also rerolling failed to hits against those units.
Yeah, so
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, pretty solid. For their actual stats, they're just Sisters of Battle with Initiative 5. So like
and one more attack.
So they're really good for what, like 5 extra points versus like
they're pretty crazy.
Yeah. So yeah,
they also have their dedicated transport.
Their dedicated transport, a Rhino,
which is their No Maiden Rhino.
Yeah, which has the same special rules, the Bane of Psychers and Psychic Abomination.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Because now they can go downfield in their Rhino, start inside of it, go down 12 inches.
Yeah.
They have a pretty big bubble where they're denying psychic powers. If your enemy has Psychers, you can't go in there. They effectively can't go in there. So that's going to be target priority. Yeah. So they're probably going to blow up the Rhino turn 1. That's okay though, because now your Sisters get out, and they have to deal with them as well.
Yeah.
Leadership 10 fearless models that they're going to have to remove every single one of if they want to get rid of that bubble.
Yeah.
Which is pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Even if they don't do their job, I think they're really effective at making your opponent have to change their game plan. And any model that can do that, especially a model that can do that can be easily fitted in your army under 100 points is...
Yeah.
I think it's like a must-have. Because
it's very strong.
Right, because what you're wanting to do with these Psychers is kind of have leeway in where you want to place them, because a lot of buffs and things like that are like 12, 18 inches, 14 inches. Like a lot of psychic powers do not have a range. So you have to think about your positioning with your Psychers. This messes with your positioning. You can cut off Psychers from units that need to be buffed. You can, like you said, remove maledictions from people that, like, dropping your Riptide to weapon skill 1 and initiative 1 and things like that. You can
knocking off that strength and toughness. You can strip all that away.
Yeah, strip it all away. Just move them around. They've got decent mobility with a Rhino that also has their special rules. And their detachment is different than the data. So it's the biggest change.
It's the same. It's interestingly, GW being GW made it the exact same name for the formation, but it is very different. It's much more powerful now.
And it's not like Imperial Agents where the releases were years apart. This was like months apart.
Yeah, I think they intend to fully replace the data sheet.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they have effectively.
Yeah, I don't know why you would ever want to take.
No, I don't know
less
why you
warp
want to
charges.
take the other one.
But in this newest one, the more units you have
on the table,
it is in your range of, it's 12 inches normally for Psychic Abomination, is increased by 3 inches for every unit you have.
Every unit past the first.
Yeah, past the first.
So that includes their Rhinos.
Yeah.
And every Sisters squad. Now note, if you're in the Rhinos, they don't count because they're not on the table.
Right.
But they walk out of the table. Say you took, and this is sort of what I'm looking at, running even in a Tau list. This is how good these are. It's worth risking Desperate Allies, in my opinion. You run 2 Rhinos, each with 2 Sword Sister squads, in each Rhino. And that racks up to about 230 points, 240 if you're paranoid like me and you take dozer blades on everything you can, because failing those dangerous tests is just awful.
You do it once and you're like, oh, never again.
Yeah. So 240 points.
Yeah.
Turn 1, you just drive them down the board and you say, deal with these. You have Psychers in your army. You need to kill these, or you're going to lose this game if you rely on Psychers. That's pretty much just how it is.
Yeah. When like the Custodes Assassin, when it came out, people were like, "This is going to change the game," and like it did change the game.
It did change it significantly.
But the Custodes Assassin, you have to kind of build around, and it's
not near as survivable,
and it's counterable as a small unit.
You have to infiltrate it.
Yeah.
Ever since they came out with the FAQ, you can't drop on it anymore.
Right.
It's pretty slow moving. It's just an infantry model. I mean, you can run them around and whatnot, but nothing compared to in a Rhino that also has Psychic Abomination. Right. You kill the Rhino, 5 sisters, maybe even, because you can take up to 10 if you wanted to, which might be an interesting option. But then once you kill the Rhino, then you have to kill all the sisters in order to get rid of that big psychic denial bubble.
And even we're talking about all their anti-psychic stuff, but even them standing
solid.
Yeah, even them standing by themselves are solid for their point value. They're basically just sisters of battle, but they're
great in melee.
Yeah, like they have +1
AP
strength,
2,
right? Yeah.
Strength 4, hitting at initiative 5.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal against almost anything.
Yeah.
So
there's only a handful. There's like Harlequins, a couple named characters that are above initiative 4
like
in melee. There's almost nothing. I don't know how Wolf Stars are going to deal with this. I don't know how big Death Star units that rely on psychic powers are going to deal with this.
This is where we disagree a lot.
I think they're stronger than he does.
Yeah. You think they will change the game? I just think they will have another layer that your opponent has to play around, and I think that's totally worth it. Like, that is something crazy that not many things in the game that you can bring easily
that fundamentally have to change your opponent's play style.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the most overlooked things about like playing the game and trying to win is
trying to dictate your opponent's
exactly.
actions.
And so when you have something sitting on an objective, they don't have objectives secured, they're elite choices. But if anything gets near them, you're going in with the Great Blades, and that's going to be it for that unit, probably. It makes them have to like change their routes, like basically change their whole game plan if they want to like get psychic powers off. And so it'll really hedge against Librarius Conclave is what is the one thing is the thing I'm saying will almost be it's a direct counter.
Yeah, it's that. I think Daemon Summoning is still going to be strong.
Right.
Because you can just keep those all the way in your back line and just summon Daemons and pour them forward.
But like putting invisibility on your giant blob of wolves and you just charging around. Yeah, it's not gonna matter.
Those get turned off every game. Almost every game, unless you're playing against like Chaos or someone that they're coming Apocalypse with.
Right.
They're just very, very strong models. I really think that they're going to be extremely popular in the meta.
Yeah, expect to see them. How many would you take?
I think it's good to take 2 squads, each with a Rhino. Racks up to 230 points, 240, because I buy Dozer Blades, like I said. I think that's enough to make it not impossible, but if your opponent wants to kill them, that's going to be his entire army dealing with those 4 units if you count the transports, and you should.
They are killable.
They're very killable.
They're just strength. They're just toughness 3. Sisters.
You have to kill every single one of them.
Yeah, it is really because they are fearless. You're not forcing any leadership.
How easy is it to pull your Rhino up? Your Rhino dies.
Right.
Now my sister is standing behind the Rhino, and you can't see them anymore.
Yeah, they're an annoying bunch to deal with. They do die a lot faster than Custodes, but
they're not even in the same echelon.
Yeah, but
as Custodes, they are only 3 up armor, and they don't have an invuln or feel no pain. Not that it really matters because they are still toughness 3.
Yeah.
But they're just a solid choice. Even if your opponent doesn't take Psychers, even if they don't take Psychers, they're still a solid choice.
Yeah, that's true. Because
their base stat line is great.
Yeah. What do you think the counterplay is? You're a Witch Council player or you're a Librarius Conclave player. How do you think you get around this?
Well, personally, I play Tau.
Okay, yeah.
So, to me, there are just more Space Marines to take to make my opponent take off the table.
You don't really have experience with the...
I don't think there is a counterplay if you do like Magus's Flying Circus and you just have Daemon Princes that fly around. I don't think there is a counterplay. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a legitimate list to try to play around.
but so like on the one extreme of you rely entirely on Psychers, there's not really a counterplay. For lists like Renegades supported by a lot of Daemons, you have your Renegades spend their first shooting phase killing all of those Psychers.
Yeah.
And
or the anti-Psychers.
Yeah, killing all the anti-Psychers. Yeah. And then but even still, you didn't get your first psychic phase.
Yeah.
You didn't get it if you went second. And they're definitely target priority if you go first. They are kill those.
Yeah.
Now.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which again, your opponent is dictating what you are doing.
Right.
And you have to do it or you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
So the counterplay is shooting.
Yeah. Yeah. Get them off the table.
Shooting. Yeah. They're too dangerous in melee.
Yeah.
And by the time you got there, it would matter. All right.
So in conclusion, I think this is a pretty good, pretty solid release.
Yeah, I would agree. You've got your fluff there with your Custodes.
Oh yeah.
And I emphasize fluff. You don't bring these to your local rogue trading tournaments and expect them to do much at all.
Yeah.
They just don't have it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think they're fun. Yeah.
Sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Very competitive.
Very competitive.
Very competitive.
And very, very lore friendly as well. I think both of these releases have the rules to support what you expect this model to do when you see it show up in a story.
Yep.
Which is like
that's
exactly gonna mess up Psychers.
Yes.
Or these guys are gonna be impossible to kill and like hit like a truck and lead the Imperium to victory. Right.
They are the tip of that spear.
Yeah. Exactly. So very good release, very very good price point for $160 for the whole thing.
For
pretty great.
$270 bucks
and,
worth of Burks with his stuff.
40 points for 5 sisters isn't bad. $60 for 5 Custodes. These are amazing models.
That's their individual price.
And like new GW sculpts.
Yeah,
just
which
like,
I mean it's about right for. Oh god, their GW's been hitting it out of the park with their recent. I don't know what they did. I guess they sold their soul to Tzeentch or Slanesh or someone, but it was worth it.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think that's going to be it for us. We'll see you guys later. Look for more of our videos.
Yeah.
Bye. Toodles.